the two from California.
Oh, okay.
I think they're 11 and 9.
11 and 9.
I think. Yeah. I haven't seen them since last year, so
Oh,
they grow
wow.
up fast.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That's nice to know where you live, too.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the area at least, huh?
Yes. I grew up in Richland Center, so
Oh.
graduated from there.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Katie, have you been, are you going to be open during Wild West Days?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll get to that because that's important. That's this weekend already. Well, it's
Tonight.
kind of starting
Yeah.
already.
It starts at 5.
Yeah.
So a lot of it will depend on the weather, what all happens this
yeah.
week. But par for the course, right?
Yep. See what I have here?
You're official. Oh, wow.
I was cleaning out a box of stuff, and I found that September 6, 7, and 8, 1996.
Oh, wow.
Just so everybody can see, this is as old as I am.
Yeah, that's right. That's your birthday year. You were just a few months old then.
I was.
He was born on February 14th of 1996, and this is September 6, 7, and 8 of 1976.
Yeah.
So, how do you say your last name? Blair-Scheer?
Blair-Scheer. It's a
Blair-Scheer.
hyphen in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Katie Blair-Scheer.
So I
And
was an old lady when we got married, so I had to keep my maiden name attached to it. So
because you had already been a professional and people knew you by that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So
So tell us about maybe a little. You were mentioning that just a few minutes ago about yourself, like where you grew up. You were talking about where you went to high school.
yeah, I went to high school at Richland Center. Graduated in 1980.
The
farm
Hornets,
girl.
right? The Hornets.
Yes.
Yeah.
The year that I graduated, Leroy Stahl was our big basketball player, who's also was a guidance counselor, I believe, up in Weston, and he would score 50 points a game in basketball.
Wow.
Not the whole team, him personally.
Wow.
So that was always the big, it was pretty cool.
Really? What year did you graduate again?
1980.
1980. Yeah, Becky and I graduated. I graduated from Wisconsin Heights
Okay.
in 1978, and she graduated from Coldwater High School in 1978.
Oh, cool.
In Michigan.
Coldwater, Michigan. Yeah. And so, just so everybody knows, Becky's here, my wife,
My mom.
and Katie's best friend now. Well, I don't know about that, but
And Katie's
We're
here,
getting
not
there.
my mom.
Yes.
Not your
Yes.
wife.
We're just getting started. Just wait.
Exactly. And you'll have more in common probably than we will, just because Becky, she can tell you her story, but Becky and her mother over in Michigan go thrift
sisters.
shopping, and sisters go thrift shopping every time she's over there.
Cool.
Sometimes multiple days. And it's one of the questions that I have, but we can just, I want to get back to her background. But one of the questions I have is how a second chapter Resale compares to like Goodwill and New to You and stuff like that. So I'll ask you that. But tell us a little bit more about your background, whatever you want to tell us. If you don't want to tell us anymore, that's fine. We aren't an investigative reporting.
I have no secrets.
Okay.
Grew up in Richland Center, farm girl.
Okay.
Got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to feed calves, and the bus would be coming down the road to pick us up to go to school. And we're running to the house to change clothes. You just got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, got your stuff done by noon, and the rest of the day you could play if it was summertime. It was pretty cool.
Dairy farm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is somebody still on the home farm from your family?
No,
or-
unfortunately.
Okay.
My dad lives in Illinois now, just has a couple horses. My mom's been gone for about 18 years, so he's just got the horses on the farm that she was living at when she passed. So
Well, the family farm is such a vanishing breed now. I mean, there's so many. I mean, growing up in this area, almost everybody, I wasn't a farm kid, but I kind of pictured myself as a farm kid because I always worked on a farm. We had a little hobby farm, and all of my friends were basically dairy farmers. And so, probably you the same way, right? I mean,
yeah, probably, yeah. I made hay in the summertime. I was Dad's right-hand man, so I learned how to, cobble things together and fix the John Deere and whatever needed to be done. So traits I still keep with me today.
yeah. Do you have to do any of that with your current business? I mean, do you get some
Sometimes.
things that need to be, kind of fixed? Or
Sometimes,
Okay.
yeah. We get some really bizarre stuff in. You just never know what we're going to get in. Sometimes we get really cool stuff. Sometimes you look at it and go, okay. And then you got to figure out what to do with it.
I saw a post. It was a little video you made of a bunch of stuff. And basically, I think you were saying, we don't need this kind of stuff.
Correct.
Please don't.
Correct.
And maybe as we get further into that, you can tell us what kind of stuff.
Okay.
So that when this plays on what's happening in Mazo and stuff, people will see it and won't torture you anymore
Good
by
luck.
dropping off stuff.
Do it just to antagonize. You.
Yeah.
Then I'll blame you guys, Sadie.
So how
Take it to
did
their
you
house.
how did you end up in Mazomanie? I mean, Richland Center, 45 minutes from here?
Yeah,
How did you get this far east?
After high school, I moved to Cambridge. I've worked a lot of places, a lot of restaurants, stuff like that. I owned my own restaurant for a few years. I worked for a convenience store for a long time. I met my husband at the bowling alley in Spring Green through a mutual friend of ours, and we ended up getting together, and then I ended up moving back this way.
Okay.
And my husband was out driving around one day, and he saw where our shop is. It had a for rent sign. And he's like, well, you should take a look at it. And I took a look at it. I made him take a look at it. I knew we were going to outgrow it in a hurry, and we did, but I wouldn't give it up for nothing.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. And about that, and jump in whenever you guys want to, but about that building, do you know some of the history behind that? Is anybody...
Right before we had it, it was a daycare.
Yes.
And then Scott had a trophy shop in there, and I do believe it was a hardware store at one time before that.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's been a lot of other things in between,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Because if my memory serves me right, I think there was a railroad track that actually went between those two buildings or right up to those buildings there. But they took it out, I don't know how many years ago.
Okay.
And now there's just one by the depot. But there
Right.
used to be two sets of tracks there. So maybe that was a place where they
That would make
stored
sense,
things
yeah.
or something like that. So how big is your building? I've never been in there. Becky's been in there, but
our spot is only about 1,200 square feet.
it is.
Yes. So it may sound big, but once you start putting stuff in there,
Shrinks.
it shrinks in a hurry. I knew we were going to outgrow it, and didn't take us 6 months.
Really? So why do you say you wouldn't ever leave there, or at least for the time being?
We love
what's so
Mazo.
special about? Okay.
Mesa, I have a family whose son comes, and it's the toy brewery. He brings a toy, he exchanges a toy. They come from Lone Rock. We're established, we've made a personal connection with them. We also have other families in town who will let their 10-year-old daughter and son come to our shop on their own and shop. That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're called the toy store by a couple of people. And we've also been known that if somebody just needs somebody to talk to, my husband and I are there. What is said in our shop stays in our shop. And it's just kind of cool to have people come to us and just know that it's a safe place. During COVID, we had a couple people that they just needed to get out, and I was down there doing repainting and stuff like that. And they came in and they just kind of hung out for a little bit. We did the safe distancing thing, but they got away from the family a little bit. The mom hadn't talked to anybody but her husband as an adult for 6 weeks. She needed somebody.
Yeah.
We love it there. We've become a destination place too, which is really nice.
Like you said, it's interesting too that Mazo, I'm sure there's spots where you don't want your kids walking around and stuff like that, but as a whole, Mazo's a pretty safe area, and being able to go over to the second chapter, Resale or whatever it is, and go get something, it's like just walk
Ride
on
your
down,
bike or-
and it's,
Yeah.
just to be able to be that comfortable it's also nice to. There's a lot of places like that
Right.
in Mazo, but to be able to.
I have
Do your
one
thrifting.
family that the bigger sister came in the other day and had a budget and was buying their little sister a birthday present, and she, of course, you get a little bit extra when you're 10 years old buying for your sister. You get a deal, But everything in there's been donated, so why not give back to these kids and let them experience that buying something? Not everything has to be new. There's some history in some of the stuff that we have. Not too long ago, I had a lady come in and we had something in our glass case and she started crying, and I'm like, uh-oh, what happened? Well, here her great granddaughter had just broke a dish that I had in that case that I could replace it.
Wow.
And she was so ecstatic because she never thought she'd see anything like that again. You know, those are the kind of stories that warm your heart.
Well, and it's nice to, in Mazo or any small town, to have people that start a business, and they're there. They're there to stay and not come in and go out. And
Exactly.
So
We've been
that's-
there 5 years, and there's only been one day that I've had, 2 days, I've had somebody besides my husband or myself in that shop.
Wow.
If I say we're going to be there, we're there, unless it's a family, something
Sure.
family. Otherwise, we just have to be there. That's our business. You got to have that consistency.
When I was a kid, Mazo was a bustling, there was a grocery store, a kind of a dime store, department store, 2 barbers, bars, different things like that. And since, kind of it's gone down, but it's great to see it kind of becoming revitalized. And a store like yours, along with like the 1855
Exactly.
coffee house, are more, it seems like more stable. They can stay there.
Yes.
As opposed to some of the businesses that have come and gone. And no, I'm not trying to be negative toward them, but sometimes, I don't know if eccentric would be the word, or just they didn't have the appearance that they were going to be able to get enough business
The
and stay
apothecary,
there.
I can never say that one right.
Yeah.
They're another one. And what we do, if you tell me that you've been at the Mercantile at the 1855 coffee house,
Yes.
you get an extra 10% off. It promotes that business. Let's walk downtown. More people are going to the library and stopping over. We have a room full of books that, gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do with them all. Black Earth Library donated all their books at the end of their book sale this year. Mazo Library is doing the same thing. I can do them. I can sell them cheap. And I have a list for a couple different people, books that they're looking for, that as I'm going through the books,
Sure.
I'll set them aside.
Sure.
And
nice.
yeah, I love it.
Do you live in Mazo, Maney?
No, we live between Arena and Spring Green.
Okay.
So,
But that's where your husband is from?
yes.
Spring Green
Well, he's
area.
actually from Madison.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah. So when I met him, he was working at the bowling alley in Spring Green. So
What's the name of the bowling alley again? We used to live in Spring Green many, many moons ago. Remember, what is it?
when
It's the
he was there, it was
Bowling Green?
JB's Bowling
Oh,
Green. Yeah.
Okay, Bowling Green.
Yeah,
Yes.
Remember
bowling.
that?
It was a bowling. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tell us about your hours. I mean, so that people know, and you've got a website, how they can get a hold of you, if you want a phone number, or you have Facebook, I know that, but what are
yes.
your hours?
We are only closed on Mondays. Otherwise, we are open 9 to 6 Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then 10 to 4 on Saturday and Sunday.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's
Open for
full
business.
service.
Yep.
Yep.
And your website is,
The website is in the middle of being reconstructed right now.
okay,
So we're just kind of closing that down. Our goal is within the next couple of weeks, we are going to shut down for a week just to repaint and do some revamping some stuff. I actually have some new shelving coming in and stuff like that. So when about that time, we want to rebuild our website with the new pictures
sure.
and stuff like that. So if you hear that we're closed, it's only for remodeling. So I remember when we closed last year for vacation, the whole town had us closed permanently. It's like, no, we're
tough.
only on vacation. But
So if you want to do some remodeling and stuff, bring your sledgehammer and your paintbrush.
yes,
That's
especially the paintbrush and a tall ladder.
tall ladder.
Yes.
I've got some other questions, but maybe do you have anything specific, or Hudson?
I can't think of anything right now.
No, go ahead. Shoot away.
I was wondering if there are things that you would have that would be very unique in your store. Not that you have a catalog in your mind of everything that you have, but you have some unique type things that you said you talked about that dish that you have. Do you have a lot of those types of things? Do you have do you have antiques, or is it more just recent type
It
things?
depends on the day.
Okay.
Sometimes I get China sets in, old China sets. Sometimes I get Pokemon cards. It just kind of depends. If you're cleaning out your garage, you never know what you're going to decide that
Yeah,
you're done with.
true.
And people would rather see it go there first and then before the landfill. In the last, I just want to throw this out there. We have sent stuff to South Africa, to the Philippines. We sent stuff to Indian reservations. When Texas had their flooding, we've sent stuff out.
Good.
So basically, if you know that somebody that's going out to help people in need, give us a call. We've got enough stuff that we can definitely bag up. And that's because everybody is so generous in donating local like they are. I can keep my prices the way they are because it's all donated in. And it's just a really good feeling to know that this community is helping another community when that happens. You know, it puts Mazo on the map.
About how much percentage-wise, and maybe you don't want to disclose this, but like, let's say you get 100% stuff in, what percentage would you say would have to be thrown out? Or what, maybe you want to say it on the positive, what percentage do you keep and put in your
Again,
store?
it just depends on what it is and the shape that it comes in.
Generally, I mean, is it 50% or is it less than that or is more than that? What do you think?
So when we first started out, that's kind of changed over the years. When we first started out, I was keeping everything that I could. I have 4 storage units now. So now I don't have to keep just about everything. I'm downsizing those storage units. So I have become a little bit pickier. I try really hard not to have stains on shirts. If I can smell the clothes, I send them on to the next. Not that I always catch it, because sometimes you just get immune to the smells in your, in your surroundings. But I would say good 70 to 80% we still keep.
Okay.
So I do want to kind of tell you guys a little bit about the story behind the name of the shop.
Sure.
So my mom has been gone for 18 years, and she was big into butterflies. She believes that butterflies are the second chance of life, the second chapter of what's to come. And we couldn't call the place Second Chance because there's so many different organizations out there with that name. We would have just blended in. And I'm a very avid book reader. I probably have 5 or 6 books going at any time. So we kind of combine the two. So it's still the second chapter of, that your
Right.
cups or whatever. So
Sure.
we're a firm believer in that. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
I was
story.
going to
I'm
ask
glad
how
you
you
told
came up
yeah.
with the name. That
Yeah.
was one of my
Yeah.
questions.
Appreciate
so
you.
Yeah.
You beat me to it,
telling
which
us
is
that.
not a problem.
I'm very proud of that. My mom's been gone for a long time. And every time I get a butterfly in of any kind, I know mom's with me. I had a lady the other day that brought me a picture frame that she had glued butterflies around it. And I have a picture of my mom and I when I was 2 that's going in that frame. It's just those little things like that. My husband and I have made so many new friends and close people since we've moved to town. That small town feeling,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't knock it.
Yeah.
That's before you go.
Yeah.
That's some of the reason why we kind of produce this podcast, is to get to know people like you, other people. Some of them have been people we're a little bit closer to. Some of them have been people we don't, like Scott Johannick. We didn't know him basically at all. And just getting
Right.
to know the people that are coming in and our business owners and stuff like that, and spotlighting those different stories. So
Right.
because we like Mazo quite a bit, and I like the small town way better than going anywhere that's bigger, just because of those neighborly
I like not having to
aspects.
lock your doors. Not that we don't, but
Hopefully
Yeah.
for the criminals who aren't watching this.
yeah. I didn't say that we didn't. We
She
have
locks her
security
doors.
cameras up at the shop. We had to.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
had things removed from the front
Sure.
that
Oh, sure.
we're not supposed to be. Just like the stuff that's been brought in that's not supposed to be. We have you on camera now. If it's something that we're not supposed to have, you're on
Yeah.
camera.
So when you drop it off at night, you
It's
can
still
just
there.
wave.
Yeah.
Let them know.
See you soon. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Make sure you wave at the cameras. We won't
Yeah.
tell you which ones are really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been in business for 5 years here in Mazo. Is this your first business, like that
Venture.
first
It's our
solo
first
business
resale.
entrepreneur? What's that?
Our first resale shop.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I owned a restaurant in Stockton, Illinois
did.
before that.
Okay.
So
So this isn't your first go around of being a small business owner either.
correct.
Good for
Correct.
you.
Another small town.
Mhm.
And do you have employees, or it's just you and your
Just
husband?
myself and my son, or my husband, I mean.
Okay.
It was my son when it was my restaurant,
You'll get it.
Sometimes he's like my son,
It's a Freudian slip. Yeah, yeah. Most
Yeah,
of us
he'll catch that,
husbands
too.
are like
Husband,
sons sometimes.
I keep saying he's my 65-year-old teenager, so,
Yeah, I hear you. So compare, is it? I don't know. This is an honest question. I don't go to resale stores that much, so I don't know how it compares with a New to You or Goodwill or whatever. Is
St.
there
Vinny's.
St. Vinny's? How does it compare with that? Is it similar, or is that not a good comparison? It's a naive question, an honest question.
we're a lot like them, only our prices are a lot cheaper.
Okay.
We're garage sale prices, pretty much. I mean, I think you would agree with that one.
Yeah.
And we run a lot of sales. I mean, I try to stay within the 3-month guideline of, so now the stuff that I put out in June is on sale. And the longer the month goes, the more on sale it goes. And last week of the month, we usually have quarter items that I had put out. It works out pretty good, cleaning out a lot of stuff. And I started doing that because as much as we try not to give to St. Vinny's and Goodwill, I would rather send to the other countries and people like that, but not everybody's going. And it just, you can come in and buy a lot of clothes for $5. I've had a family come in and get school clothes for all of their grandkids, spent $60, and they walked out there with 10 bags of stuff.
Instead of one pair of jeans or something like that at the
Exactly.
store.
T-shirt, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, paying $15 or $30 for a T-shirt is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't care who you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, that's true.
Now you're speaking my language.
The one place that doesn't have inflated prices at the time.
Yeah.
So, anything else that either you two have or we didn't hit, a question that you would like to say? If you don't, that's fine, but just.
I wouldn't be here, still be here. We survived the flood. I think that we instrumented a lot of, when this flood happened, we said we were going to take donations in, from taking donations in one day to closing down the next day for 6 weeks to still distribute all the stuff for the floods. Our landlord, Scott Stokes, donated a spot for us to set up tables for families in need to come down and get what they needed. And then when that filled up, he donated another spot so that we could continue to give out. So if you needed something, come on down and get it, And I think that helped us. The winter when we had 46 below and, we've overcome a lot. But with Mazo being the town that it is and how close-knit the people are, you're going to have drama no matter where you go. We just ignore it. We don't care.
Yeah.
You just make the best out of what you can and smile.
But being a part of a town a village when they go through stuff like the flood, that was a big deal. I mean, that was like we live up here on the hill.
Thing, yeah.
And when you would drive down there, it was like 2 different Mazos.
Yeah.
It was like a war zone down there. And you go down with friends and people and you see what's going on down there. And then you come up here and mow your lawn. It's like you feel terrible that, here you're living kind of sunshine and roses, and down there they're digging out and tearing down homes and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we knew a lot of people before that, but I think that situation brought us closer to a lot of the families that were affected by it, that still come in, that are still part of our adopted family now. I'm Grandma Kate to a lot of 2 and 3-year-olds.
That's not so bad, is it?
No,
Yeah,
I'll take
yeah,
it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm sure we appreciate that. I mean, that's what you have to do with small towns, is come together to get through those things. And it's nice to have people that you can count on for that.
Exactly.
So are we good with time for a few minutes?
We've got 7 minutes, looks like.
What we do, Katie, you like Kate or Katie?
Either one.
Okay. So what we do is with our guests, we give them the choice. So you won't bother us if you say,
Offend us,
no,
yeah.
I don't want to. We play Would You Rather games with them. Have you
Okay.
ever heard that before?
Yes, I have.
Everybody's heard that except me. I mean, I didn't know that until I thought I came up with something really
Old
special.
Man River.
And then everybody else says, I always ask that question. They say, yeah, I play that. So here's one. We'll start out with this. And you be thinking about this too, you two guys.
Sure.
Would you rather ride a roller coaster or a water slide? You can answer first, or somebody else can answer. Roller coaster or water slide?
Roller coaster.
Okay. Any specific reason? Just
To me, life is a daily roller coaster.
Okay.
I'm used to it.
She'd be the one just sitting like this,
So it's-
going through it.
illustrative of your life, huh?
Exactly.
How about you, Beck?
I'll say a water slide. I like both, but it's kind of nice on a hot day to get nice and cool and have lots of varieties as far
Yeah.
as water slides. There's lots to pick from.
I'm not a big fan of both.
You'd like to go fishing.
Is my
Or
kayak
camping or
on the
something, yeah.
river, is that enough
Yeah.
for a water slide?
Yeah.
No, I'm not a big fan of either of those. I'm not a great swimmer. Not that you have to be a good swimmer to go down a water slide, but I also not a huge roller coaster
Yeah.
guy. So
I've got lead feet in more ways than one. So if I'm in the water, I just sink. I kid you not. I remember years ago, my friend Lori will laugh at this, but we used to work at a factory, and afterwards we go out to the lake and go swimming. And there was a little diving thing out in the middle, and they helped me out there. I can't swim. I dove off. I went right on down. Well, they told you not to move, not to freak out. Well, I didn't move at all. So, of course, they came in after me, and she will never let me forget that, and I can't forget it either. But, yeah.
they told you should be freaking out. You're drowning. So she's
Yes.
very calm.
I'm always opposite of what you should be.
I like water slides because they, as I remember, they always go down.
Oh, sure.
Where roller coaster rides go up, and I don't like heights. So, a Ferris wheel or roller coaster, they're always going up and down, and you always have to go up again. So water slides are always down.
Sure.
That's my theory
I think
anyway.
we got time for one more.
One
Dad.
more?
Yep. Let's
Okay.
do one more.
Would you rather have to cook the big holiday meal every year or clean up and do the dishes afterwards? Are you more of a cleanup person or a cooking person? Which would you rather? Would you rather have to cook the big holiday meal or clean up after? Cook. The cleanup, no deal.
Yeah, I hate dishes.
You like to cook? Good cook? You feel like you're a good cook? Or just kind of just an addict? Well, you ran a restaurant. Of course you're a good
Yeah.
cook. I'll say it for you.
Well, I hired some good help, too.
Okay, that helps, doesn't it?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I learned.
I'd have to
Go ahead.
agree. I would rather cook because after you eat all of it, you're tired.
Yeah,
You don't want to get up and have to clean up.
true. That's a good
I
point.
don't want to. And depending on how, like if you're doing scalloped potatoes, something like that,
Oh,
you better
that
get out a
power washer or something. Get
And a
Ryan Van
jackhammer
Riper. Yeah, back
to get
again.
those things off
Yeah.
the side.
How about you, Beck?
I guess I'd do the cleanup. I mean, years ago, I
Oh,
would have wanted to
perfect.
do all of the cooking type things, but I don't know. I'm pretty spoiled now. I have a lot of people that do meals for us, and I don't know. Cleaning up afterwards is I'd rather do that.
I'd like to be one of those TV chefs that get to use 30 pans, really nice pans, and all these. They're just always using new pans, and they just shove them off, and somebody else
Yeah.
does
And the
all that.
people set up
That's what
everything
I-
for
Yep,
them. They
exactly.
set it up and
Yep.
they just cook and then
Yeah.
they do all the cleanup.
Well, Katie, thank you for being part of our podcast. When I contacted you, did I just come out and ask you if you wanted to be on the podcast, or
Yeah.
how did I approach you? Right away, you were back messaging me about
I
that.
admire what you guys are doing.
Oh,
and
thank
I have enjoyed watching your podcast. So I'm
Thank you.
honored to be part of it.
Well, good. And we've got just enough time for me to walk over here.
Yeah. This is new. I don't know if it's the prize table. You get to take one. It's the coupon. You're going to have to get a little bit there you go. Yeah, a little bit farther back.
There's the coupon to be redeemed at our prize table.
Oh, cool.
So you get to pick out one thing, and then we'll take a picture of you.
Once we're all done.
And once we're all
let you
done,
pick
and put it on the podcast during the podcast.
Okay.
Come on, we'll do that.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So, sound okay?
Yeah.
And it's food. Well, there's some other things. I suppose you could take them and put them in the
You know what she's going to do? She's
second
going to take,
chapter.
she's going to flip them.
Yep.
She's going
Yeah,
to get them from
why
us
not?
and then
And it-
Well,
mark
it
the
depends
price
on what
up.
it is.
That is perfectly fine with us
Yep.
if you want to do that. We won't come down tomorrow and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, she put our gift
You'd
on
be
the."
surprised at the stuff I don't take home with me that comes in. I have certain things like antique books.
Mine?
Yes.
One for
forget
me,
it.
two for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, I
Sure.
don't have, 4 storage units at home. I have them for the shop. So
Sure.
Well, thank you again.
thank
It's
you
been
very
a
much.
pleasure to
Thank
get to
you.
meet
Very
you,
nice
and
to meet
hopefully
you.
we'll send Becky down, or we'll come down sometime and see you and your husband.
cool. Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
No problem.